There is a very specific, terrifying sound inside an NFL facility in late August. It's the sound of a front office door closing. Because right now, across 32 training camps, we aren't just watching football practice. We are watching a ruthless, high-stakes sorting process. Careers are quietly ending in windowless rooms, while entirely new legacies are being violently forged out on the practice fields. Every single snap is a live audition. Every dropped pass, that's a potential pink slip. If you're a player standing on the fringe of a roster right now, you know that your entire livelihood, your dream, your family's future, literally hinges on a split-second reaction during a quote-unquote meaningless exhibition game. I'm your host, and today in this explainer, we're diving deep into the cinematic drama of the NFL preseason. We're going straight to the tape to look at three completely different rookie survival paths happening right this second, the massive consequences of front office decisions, and the intense reality checks being delivered to organizations desperate for a savior.
Now I want you to really absorb this quote. I'll essentially set the league on fire, bro. Listen to the edge in that statement. This isn't your standard, PR-trained locker room bravado. No, this is raw, unfiltered agony. It's the sheer determination of a player who feels entirely, fundamentally disrespected by a league that just cast him aside like an afterthought. These are the words of defensive back Beanie Bishop. And to truly understand the massive, volcanic chip on this young man's shoulder right now, you have to understand the immense psychological toll of doing absolutely everything right in this league. Pouring your soul into the game, only to be told by men in suits that you still aren't good enough.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to track Beanie Bishop's absolute revenge tour in Chicago, look at how another rookie is earning trust through sheer, violent grit, break down the Drew Allar quarterback project, and finally, discuss how a franchise manages those dangerous expectations.
Let's start with Part 1, Bishop's Revenge in Chicago.
To survive as an undrafted free agent in the National Football League, you are fighting an uphill battle against a spreadsheet. You don't just have to beat out the veteran playing in front of you, you have to overcome the draft capital that the general manager invested in someone else. And the brutal reality of August roster cuts is that they rarely care about your heart, your college resume, or how early you show up to the weight room. Just look at this timeline. It brilliantly and painfully illustrates the chaotic roller coaster of a fringe NFL player. Bishop was an All-American in his final college season at West Virginia. He had undeniable lockdown production. Yet the 2024 draft comes and goes, and his phone never rings. He goes completely undrafted. He fights his way into the Pittsburgh Steelers, puts up solid film but is abruptly waived during final cuts in August 2025. Then, he spends most of that season grinding in the shadows on the New Orleans Saints practice squad, signs a reserve/future contract, and is abruptly released again. He is teamless. For all intents and purposes, he is out of the league. And then, out of sheer desperation in August 2026, he earns a mere tryout with the Chicago Bears. He secures a contract off the street, and exactly 1 week later, he's stepping onto the field against the Cleveland Browns.
But we really need to contextualize that first release by Pittsburgh, because these numbers tell a baffling story. This was not a player who looked lost under the bright lights. As an undrafted rookie back in 2024, Bishop played in all 17 regular season games for a storied franchise like the Steelers. He started 6 of them, he racked up 45 tackles, but look closely at that fourth stat, 4 interceptions. And one of those was a game-sealing pick off the legendary Aaron Rodgers. Think about that for a second. To have that kind of production as an undrafted rookie, to literally read the eyes of a first-ballot Hall of Famer, take the ball away to win a game, and then still be waived by the organization the following August, it's a shocking, agonizing mystery of NFL front offices. It's the exact kind of cold, calculated rejection that either breaks a player's spirit entirely or it turns him into a lethal, vengeance-seeking weapon.
Well, Bishop chose the latter. Fast forward to that Bears debut. 1 week. He had 1 single week after walking in off the street for a tryout to learn a brand new defensive playbook, gel with new teammates, and fight for his NFL life. And he practically burned the stadium down. He was exactly where he needed to be at the exact right time, playing with a speed that only comes from pure desperation. He capitalized on his opportunity by ruining the night of 2 highly publicized quarterbacks. First, he picks off Shedeur Sanders. Then, he picks off Dillon Gabriel. He added 3 deflected passes and made critical open field tackles. It was a cinematic masterpiece of a revenge game, sending a deafening, undeniable message to Pittsburgh, New Orleans, and the rest of the league. I belong here, and you made a massive mistake.
Which brings us to Part 2, Earning Trust Through Grit.
Because while Bishop was making his fiery headlines in Chicago, a totally different path to survival was being carved out back in Pittsburgh. Now, he played great might sound like a simple throwaway line,
But the crucial point here is the source. When those three words come out of the mouth of Big Ben Roethlisberger, they carry the weight of an entire franchise. Earning public praise from a legendary two-time Super Bowl-winning Steelers figure is a massive, massive deal for an unnamed rookie receiver. Roethlisberger is thrown to absolute icons: Hines Ward, Antonio Brown, Mike Wallace. The man knows exactly what a successful pass catcher looks like in the demanding environment of Pittsburgh. And what he saw in this preseason matchup against the Green Bay Packers wasn't some flashy, uncoverable 7-on-7 college route tree. It was something much more elemental and much more difficult to teach.
He saw this exact, gritty blueprint executed to perfection. Because let's be real, this is how you actually survive in the AFC North. This is not a division for the faint of heart. It is a cold, physical, black and blue division where you are going to get hit, and hit hard. This rookie discovered very quickly that the best parts of his game still translate when the defenders suddenly get bigger, faster, and meaner. Step 1. You catch the football in traffic. Step 2. You absorb the immediate, jarring contact from a linebacker who wants to take your head off. Step 3, you turn violently upfield. And Step 4, you make that very first tackler profoundly regret assuming the play was over. This punishing blueprint isn't going to make the top 10 highlight reels on social media, but it immediately commands the respect of the hardened veterans in that locker room. Earning trust through sheer violence, toughness, and reliability is exactly how permanent NFL careers are quietly born in August.
Now let's pivot to part 3, the Allar quarterback project. I need you to ground yourself in this reality for a second. 76. Drew Allar was the 76th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. He was a third-round selection. He is not a number 1 overall pick. He is not a day 1 golden child franchise savior who is handing the keys to the kingdom the moment he walks through the facility doors. A third-round pick is a calculated lottery ticket. It's an investment, yes, but it is an investment that requires immense patience, meticulous development, and a highly realistic understanding of where he actually sits in the organizational hierarchy.
Because this is his current reality. Despite head coach Mike McCarthy having absolutely nothing but praise for all his raw young talent, the hierarchy of that quarterback room is set in stone. Aaron Rodgers is QB1. The entire plan, the entire Super Bowl window revolves around Rodgers. Below him, you have the seasoned veteran Mason Rudolph and Will Howard. Drew Allar is effectively at the bottom of the ladder, learning a brand new, highly complex NFL offense from scratch. And whatever he ends up being down the road, he sits squarely behind a future Hall of Famer right now. He is absolutely not going to be starting this year, barring a catastrophe. The timeline for his ascension is a long, winding, and highly unpredictable road.
And if you put on Allar's college tape, the scouting profile explains exactly why he is a long-term project. On one hand, the physical tools are undeniably elite. He has that imposing, prototypical size that offensive coordinators absolutely covet. He has elite, raw arm strength. He can effortlessly make those deep, high-velocity, outside-the-numbers throws that immediately separate college arms from pro arms. But you have to look at the other side of the ledger. The mechanical flaws are fatal if they are left uncorrected at the NFL level. When he feels pressure in a collapsing pocket, his mechanics rush. In the biggest, highest-stakes college games, his footwork became noticeably hurried and sloppy. Add in the fact that he's still fully recovering from a senior-year ankle injury, and you have a player with an incredibly high ceiling, but a basement that requires years of meticulous, frustrating refinement behind the scenes to fix.
Which perfectly leads us into part 4, managing franchise expectations.
This is the most dangerous game an NFL franchise, the media, and a passionate fan base can play. Expectation management. What does this development project actually mean for the Pittsburgh Steelers beyond the year 2026? How do you possibly temper the hype in a city that historically demands Lombardi trophies every single decade? Well, we need to analyze the specific, very intentional comparison the Steelers organization has been making. They have likened Drew Allar's big right arm to Joe Flacco. Now that analogy cuts both ways, right? The hype train hears the name of a Super Bowl MVP and imagines a perennial, untouchable franchise savior who's going to throw for 5,000 yards every year. But the actual reality of Joe Flacco's career, and therefore the reality of how the Steelers likely view Allar's ceiling, is very different. Flacco was a solid, highly reliable pocket passer who caught absolute fire at the right time and won a championship. He was excellent in January, but let's be honest, he was rarely, if ever, in the regular season MVP conversation. If that is the genuine organizational vision for Drew Allar, then framing him right now as the ultimate transcendent answer to all their problems might be a wildly dangerous overstatement.
Because we have to clearly define what this term actually means in today's modern NFL. A true franchise quarterback is a transcendent talent. It is a player who can consistently mask a deeply flawed roster, someone who can completely cover up a bad offensive line or a terrible secondary, and keep a team in perennial championship contention purely through their own willpower, processing speed, and physical gifts. Think Patrick Mahomes, think Josh Allen. Slapping this monumental, franchise-altering label onto a 76th overall pick with hurried footwork before he has ever played a real, meaningful snap against a starting NFL defense is setting the kid up for an almost impossible fall from grace.
So the ultimate question just hangs in the air over Pittsburgh. Is Drew Allar the next franchise QB for the Steelers? The tension around this unanswered question is immense. The physical skills absolutely exist in that right arm. The developmental path under a coach like Mike McCarthy makes total logical sense. But declaring victory right now, it's incredibly premature. The cold, hard truth is that all the August hype in the world means absolutely nothing until he steps into a real pocket, feels the terrifying game speed of a regular season NFL pass rush breathing down his neck, and delivers a highly contested throw on 3rd and long when the season is actually on the line.
And honestly, that brilliantly illustrates the core theme of our entire explainer today. It is only August. The preseason is just a prologue. It is an intricate illusion that gives us flashes of potential, a tease of what could be, but it is not the reality of the grueling 17-game gauntlet that awaits. Whether we're talking about the fiery, vengeance-fueled revenge of Beanie Bishop in Chicago, the gritty, bone-crushing hits of an unnamed rookie receiver earning Big Ben's ultimate respect, or the highly scrutinized mechanical refinement of a third-round quarterback in Pittsburgh, everything we are seeing right now is just a dress rehearsal. The true, undeniable reality only arrives when the games actually matter. So I want to leave you with this lingering question to chew on. Which of these incredible flashes will actually survive the final cuts and transform into a dominant regular season reality? Who is just a passing August mirage, and who is a genuine December difference maker? Your go-to channel for answering these questions all season long is right here at NFL Nexus. If you want to understand the game on a deeper, much more analytical level, you need to subscribe right now. Hit that like button, jump into the comments, and tell me your opinion on who you think survives these brutal roster battles. And if you really want to take it to the next level and support the channel, hit that join button and become a member of NFL Nexus today. Thanks for diving into the tape with me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.